Okay, so today we have to continue with the rest assured. So in the last session, what we have learned, in the last session, we have learned that how you can create the framework of the API. So we have started with the Maven project. We have just created the Maven project like file, new Maven project, and then we created this project 18th complete automation API batch. And then in the previous session, I've also shown you that how you can call different type of API like guest based API, like delete based API, post based API. So I've told you that how you can call the API, how you can set different type of things in the parameter in the request like header, body. For example, in this put, you have seen that if you want to set something in the parameter, how you can set it. If you want to set some value in the header, like some header values, content type, content length, anything, whatever you want to set, you can set it here. If you want to set something in the body, you can set it. So in this way, we have actually seen and learned that how we can call different type of API. And today we are going to learn how we can make the validation on the data. Okay, so let me again show you that what we have done. For example, this one get stored by ID. So this is the request specification object. When we call rest_assured.given, it has given or returned me the object of request specification. So whatever you want to set, for example, in get stored by ID, I set the ID 11 in my parameter for this path param. Now, when it has called this API request.get, it will return the response, and then you can see the response in the console also. That's why I printed this one. So let me run it once. Yeah, you are able to see the response. This one, the detail of the, you can say, student. This one, this is the student tag, then ID is everything. Now today we are going to learn that how you can make the validation on that. So first of all, just see, you have already API response. You have already API response. So we can do one thing, we can make the validation. So after printing the response body, let me make a validation. So API response, this API response reference variable contains so many functions so that you can validate. Okay, so the first function is that status code. Okay, so the first thing is that with the help of this API response, you can get the status code, this one, dot status code. And when you get the status, what it will do, from this API response, when you call dot status code, it will return the status code, and the return type of this function is int. So you can do one thing, you can store this status code, or you can say actual, sorry, ACTUL, actual status code. This is your actual status code, because what you are doing, you are getting the status code from the response. Already you have a response in this variable. Now what you are doing, you are getting the status code which you have stored in the status code. Now you can also declare a variable expected status code. And what is your expectation? We know that our expectation is 200. So now how you can make a validation? You know that the testng already contains assert equals, right? Assert equals. Now you want to compare two integer values, you can call it this one, actual and expected. So this is the actual. Why it is actual? Because it is, we are trying to get it from the actual response, and my expected is this one. So what it will do, when I run this code, you will see in my case it will be pass, because we know that response is 200. Let me run it. So here you can say failure is 0. So how I can show you whether it is really validating the status code or no? So for the timing, that is actual, we are getting 200. For timing, let assume that our expectation is 400. Assume it, so that I can show you that really it is failing or not. The reason is that when it assert the things, if everything is fine, if your test case is running fine, it will not prompt you any error. It will simply show that test case is passed. But when your expectation is not met with the actual, it will throw the error, and you will see it is really validating. So let me run it. So now you will see it is showing failure 1, because reason is that here you can say expected 400. Intentionally I've given 400 and found 200. So actually why I've shown you this scenario, so that you can see that whatever expectation you will give here in the assert, it will try to validate. On the base of that, it will give you the error. Expected 400 but found 200. So that I can show you that this is really validating. Otherwise my expectation is 200 and it is validated. Getting my point? In the same way, there are some other functions, and with the help of those functions, you can validate some other thing. For example, this status code you have verified. Now, what else we have in this? We have, let me show you other things. We have API response dot header, or you can say we have a function content type. If you want to verify the content type, if you want to validate the content type, so from API response, you can return the content type. So what is the return type? It is in the form of XML, in the form of string. So you can string and expect actual ACTUL, actual content type. This is actual content type, right? And now you have to create a variable string expected, EXPECTD, expected content type. Okay, and what is expected? And you know that I've already told you in the previous SOAP-UI sessions also, API testing SOAP-UI sessions also, that content type is actually basically two types. One is application/XML when you are expecting the response in the XML format, and the second is application/JSON when you are expecting the response in the JSON format. In my case, you know that it is a XML based API. You can see in the SOAP-UI also. Whenever I'm getting the detail of 11, I click on this, you are getting the detail 11, 90, man, and jet. So it is a XML. So that's why here I will give the expected is APPLICATION application/XML, and you will see it will run fine. Okay, how? So let me again assert it. Again, for the assertion, we are going to take the help of assert equal, and it is a string. So we are going to use this one. Where is string, this one. And first one is actual. This is actual. And this is expected. So if I run this, you will see the test case will pass because it is a positive scenario. Again, if you want to see that how it fails, I can show you only one thing. This is passed. So if you want to show that whether it is really validating, let me make my expectation something wrong. Application/JSON. So it will fail. The reason is that my expectation is should be actually XML. But again, I'm trying to show you that really it is validating or not. So if I will give the expected JSON, you will see it is validating. Expected is JSON and found application XML. So only why I'm trying to give you some negative things here so that you can see that, yeah, really it is validating, because in the positive scenario, when everything is okay, it is not going to show you that it is pass and why it is passed. In pass means simply pass, but when you get the scenario fail, you will get this type of answer. So you have validated the content type. In this way, if you want to validate something you want to validate for related to your body, you can also validate in the same manner. So let me write response, API response body. If you want to validate some data from the body, so it will return the body. So it will return the body object. Okay, so you can do one thing. You can it will return the body, so you can actually store in the form of a string. So you can say body as string. Now it will return your body in the form of string. So here you can say body data. Right? We have also done the same thing here. You can say same thing whatever we have done here. So, but here I'm showing you in the perspective of validation, BODY, body data. Now it is a string. So whatever things you want to validate, you can write it. For example, in the response, you can see this is the string which is printing. So whatever you want to validate, like it contains the JMeet, it contains or not as a subject. So you can do one thing. Suppose take the example, you want to validate that subject, there should be a subject with the value JMeet. So you simply do one thing. What is your expected? Here you can say string EXPECD, expected string, expected string equal to, you can write this one in double quotes, you can write this one. So actually you want to validate, so in the form of string, what you validate, the whole thing should be there. Okay, and how you can get the actual thing, or you can say do one thing. In case you can, instead of using the assert, you can use some other string functions, like if your body data, dot contains, if your body data contains this string, means the whole thing subject with the G met and this one. In this case, your test case should be pass. Otherwise, it should be fail. So here you can say, right, assert, assert true. So here you can write assert true. Assert true means in this case, your test case should be pass. So here you will write true. Else what will happen? ELSE, else. If this condition is failed means if your body do not contain this expected one, because you want to validate the subject node should be there with the value achievement. So you will write assert true equal to false. You can write assert true false. So in this way you can validate the data. Now just see it is passing or failing. Let me run it. So it is passing. Now again, how I can show you the negative value? Let me do one thing. In this string, instead of keeping this, I will put some subject ENGLISH. So you know that in my response, this is not containing. So you will see what will happen. You can say it is failed and you can see the reason also. Expected true but found false. So why it is expecting and you can say failing? Because in your response you can see the string is subject J meter subject. It's not. So in this way you have seen that I can validate the things. I can validate the thing. Now the thing is that in this way, like using this function, so many other functions are there. If you want to see, let me show you. In the API response, so many functions are there, like this one, dot and return. So many functions are there. Let me show you. So many functions are there. Body, content type, cookies, detail cookies, body, class, content. So detail cookies, headers, session ID, status line. It is what is the status line? What happens that whenever you get the status code means only the 200. But what do you mean by status line? Actually, status lines means, let me show in the SOAP here. This whole, go to the raw tab, and this is called the whole status line. Status line means STTP/1.1 200. Okay, this whole line is called status line. And when you are calling status code means you are talking about only one. This is called status line. So in simple words, I can tell this thing that with the help of this API response, it contains so many functions and you can validate each and every. Okay, now, but the question is that, is there any more easiest way to make the validation? Yes. Answer is yes. Reason is that in your Rest Assured API, there is a specific class which is designed. And the purpose of designing that class to make your validation and assertion little bit more easy. You don't need to write the code in this way. It will make your life easy. How? For that purpose, whatever API response you have, get it. API response, don't call direct method. First of all, call a method that is called then. So what is the return type of this method then? Validatable response. So let me store in a reference variable, validatable response. Validatable response. Now let me create a reference variable for it, validatable response. So now here you will see what is happening here. What Rest Assured has done here. API response, instead of directly calling the method of API from the API response to validate the things, first of all, when you call the then method, actually Rest Assured give the reference of another class, and this class contains all the methods so that you can validate different type of things from the status, from the header, from the body, and it also provides so many functions. How it is? Let me show you. This three line of code you have written so that you can validate status code is 200. Let me show you. If you want to validate with the help of this class, what you have to do. So let me write just below it. Validable response dot status code. Here you will see what is the parameters it is expecting. It is saying that status code, and you have to simply give the expected status code. You have to only pass expected status code. Let me call it. So what is my expectation? 200. Simply pass here 200. Now what is the beauty of this function? Here you are just, first of all, you are trying to fetch the actual status code from the response. Then you are mentioning your expectation, and then you have to write a assert equal so that it can validate. So actually here the assertion part is already written within this status code function. You are passing your 200. So what it will do? Actually here, Rest Assured, this single line of code doing the same thing, whatever you have achieved in 3 line of code. You want to see? let me do one thing. Let me comment this code and you will see I'm going to validate this thing. Okay. So let me validate this thing. For that, let me do one thing. Let me make the pass this one. Here I can write so, or we can write JMAT, right? JMAT because it contains JMAT. So let me write because JMAT is there. So I want to make sure it is passed. So I've written. So let me show that its status code is still validating or not. It has passed because it is 200. Now again, you can make a doubt on me, Pradeep. Here it was validating in the 3 lines, but here it is not validating. Okay, so again, I will do one thing. I will try to make my expectation something wrong so that you can see it is still validating or not. Let me run. It is fail. You are getting the same thing. Yes or no? For achieving same thing you have written previously, these 3 lines. Now you can say in one liner you have achieved it. So this is the beauty of this validable response class. That's why nowadays, whenever you have to make a validation, you should use validable response class. So you have to simply do one thing. Whatever API response you have got, just call a then method and it will return a reference of validable response. So now again, I will show the same thing for these 3 lines. You want to validate, simply do one thing. Validable response dot content type. Okay, here you have to write the content type. This is one, the content type. So here you have to pass the expected content type. Simple one thing. What? And what is your expectation? Tell me. Double quotes. Applications less XML. This is your expectation. Pass it here. You don't need to extract what is the actual. Then you have to compare. No. Every validation, the validation part is still written in this function. Content type. In this function content type, whatever expectation you are passing, it takes, and rest of the code is written in this function content type. So you don't need to write about. You want to see? Let me again delete this thing and see this single line of code is validating or not. So it is validating. So I cannot prove with the positive scenario. So let me make JSON and you will see it is validating. And when I will make it, it will pass. Great. It is failing. Now you can see. Oh, here I've given 400. Let me write 200. Otherwise it will fail in the first step. Okay, here it is failing. Now you can the reason. Yes, JSON does not match with the actual content XML. So again, let me give the positive scenario so that you can see. So now you have to trust on me that in the single line, I'm validating the things. This is the beauty of the validable response. Now come to the body part. You have written so much code. Body data, then expected, then contains this one, that, and we want to validate only one thing, whether the value of subject in your response, the value of subject is JMAT or not. So we want to validate this thing, and for that we have written this long side of code. You don't need to write this code. You want to see how? If validable response dot body, and in the body you have to use this one. You have to, you can say there is a function which contains 2 parameters you have to get. Okay, what is that? Let me call it. So first thing is that you have to write a path. The first thing is you have to write a path, and here what you want to check, So first of all, you want to get the or validate the data of the subject in your this response body. Okay, this response body. So this response body is actually XML. So you have to write the X path, or you can say the groovy path, X path, or sometimes we call the groovy path of this subject. So anybody can tell me the path? Yes, let me tell you. We write the path in a simple manner, parent node dot, then child node, something like that. So if you go to the here, data in the XML, how we can write the path is student dot subject, then it will return the value. So let me write student. Here in the double quotes, we have to write the, you can say X path or groove path. Student dot, let me copy the, what is the child node? ID, age are child node, subject is the child node. So let me, I need subject. I will write student dot subject. So what it will do in this body, when you write this X path or you can say groovy path, student dot subject, it will extract the value. Now you have to compare it, whether what is the value is compare. So how you can compare? There is a class in the Selenium, in the, you can say Rest Assured, that is called Hemcrest Matcher. I have already, you can say there is a class Hemcrest Matcher, this one. And this class, this matchers class contains so many methods that is going to help you in your validation. So many methods are there. So you have to write one line. You have to write this one. org hamcrest matches and use the static one. Why we have used the static one? I've told you this thing in the Selenium also, that with the help of a static, actually you can access all the static method directly without creating the object of matches class. And you can see, let me show you. You can see these all methods are static method. That's why you are able to see green above S. S means all the methods are static. So for the when I've written static here, you don't need to give the name of the class also. You can directly use it. So you will see here. Let me show you one thing. I have import. So you have to import this line of code. Import static org hamcrest dot matches dot star. Let me do one thing. If we want to call the function, we usually use this thing. That matches dot. There is a function that is called is. Is means whatever it will return, you have to check whether it is or not. So I will do one thing. In the age, what you have to pass? You have to pass the value. Just see here what I'm going to do. I'm going to write what should be the value of JMeter I'm expecting. JMet. This is the value of subject node in the response. So just see it is working or not. Let me remove this thing. Single line code is enough. So now I will run this and just see what will happen. Yeah, it is passed. Again, you will say, Pradeep, it is passed. So I will make a negative thing so that I will do one thing. Instead of JMeter, I will give some another name, ENGLIS. And we know that in the response, you can say response, the value of subject is JMet, not the English. So it will fail and will show you. So in one liner, you are validating the values. This is the beauty of the validable response. Fail, fail, fail. Now, okay. Expected is English, actual is JMet. Now you got the point? That how easily you can validate the thing. So let me make it positive. In the same way, you want to validate anything you want to validate from the body, you can validate. You have to simply write one thing. Just write the path. Just write the path of that node. You want to validate the age. So let me write AGE. In the matches, you have to write this is the path of student age, and you have to validate the age. You can see the age is 90. So first of all, let me give some negative scenario, 99. So what will happen? It should show that expected is 99, but actual is 90. I've shown you. That's why it is. So you can see easily. That's why I'm printing this as response body so that you can see whenever it is validating, you can check this. Expected is 99. Actual is 90. So now you can see because the value of age is 90. So let me put 90 here. Let me put 90 here, and let me run it and just see what will happen. Okay, so now you'll see definitely it is going to pass. So you can see you can validate subject, you can validate in the same way you can validate any data from your response. You can see so many any data you can validate from the response. Okay, I'm not going to validate other thing like ID, something like that. Now the thing is that you can validate status code, you can validate the content type, you can validate any data from the body. Now the thing is sometimes what happen, few data is available on the header also, directly in the header. So how you can validate response dot header. So in the header, you will see again 2 parameters you have to pass. You will see what is the pass? Header name, which header value you want to validate and what is its expected value, and it will validate. In one liner, you can see I have created one object, and in one line I have validated so many things here. Okay, so header, I want to show you that content type is also part of header, but let me show you some different header. Let me go. So I go to the raw part. You can see there is one also header. This is also called header. So this is the content length. Okay, let me show you. I'm going to validate this thing, content length. I'm expecting the content length should be 82. So let me write 82. Let me write 82. 82, and let me run it. Okay, it should be in the string format. So let me write 82. It is going to validate in the string format. So before 82, let me write something different, 84. We know that we can see here the response in the response data, the length of this whole data, response body is 82. I'm giving it a negative scenario so that you can see it is validating this one also. Yeah, it is failed. Now what is the reason? Tell me. Content length was 84 and was 82. So if you want to validate, if I give the right scenario, it will pass. So you can see how easy it is. So you can say one function I've told you, one function, this is passed. Now, okay, you are good to go. So now you have seen that I can validate the status code. I can validate the content type. I can validate any data. You have to write the path only. Then validate the, you can say any data for the, any node from the body. Anything you can validate from the header. It is doesn't mean that you can content type whatever you want to validate from the response. There you can say there is one header is date. These are our headers, date, content type. These are all headers, servers. So whatever you want to validate, just give the header name and here pass your expected value. So how easy it is, you can see it. Okay, now I'm going to tell you few more functions that is going to help you. In this case, you have validate the things when you are getting the single data in the response. You are getting the single data, you can say student. But I will take the example of one more where you are getting the data in the form of collection. Yes, multiple data are getting. If you take the example of get student all, let me run it. You will see here lots of data you are getting in the form of XML, and here you can validate so many things. One thing is that you have to validate whether how many student records you are getting, how many student records are getting. Okay, so how you can validate that student records are getting? For that purpose you have so many functions are there. So I will show you the one benefit of that. Let me explain how. So let me do one thing. For that purpose, I have to take the help of one API. Let me make it false. It is get student ID. I've already shown you this API, which is calling get student by all. So let me make it true. And here I'm going to do one thing. Same code I'm going to write here, variable response, and you can see your life will be easy. How? Let me run it here. Let me run it here. You can see easily everything. So in this validate response, I will call a method. You can see again, what is that method? Validate response dot body. But this time you can say in the body, I have to give the some path I have to given here, and then we have to call the functions here that is called matcher. So let me do one thing. In the body, I want to validate. Suppose I want to validate how many records are returning in the response of get all student API. So you can say I want to if I want to count the records in the student, I can do one thing. This I have to count how many times this student tag is coming. I can do. So how I can validate? Let me write some path. It is starting from a student. So let me write students dot student dot where is student dot student. It is enough. So this is the path for student tag. So I want to count that how many times student is coming. So I have to call a function dot size. I'm calling this function. Now what it will do? What is the meaning of this? The path students dot student. It will return all the tags. It will return all the tags which is satisfying with the student XPath. And how many tags are there? Every under this student, one student tag, another student tag, and you can see here is a list of tags. It is presenting a number of record. So I've written the size. Now I'm matching the size with the help of class matchers dot, and I can call a method is. Again, what we have to pass? You have to pass the value. What is the value? Suppose take the example. I'm just taking the wrong value. Let me show you the actual value from the database also. If you call, let me call select count. How you can get the count of records? Select count star. Oh, sorry. Count star from student STUDE. Let me run it. 2936. It means how many student records are there? 2936. And you can see this is also giving the number of records. You want to validate students dot student dot size, and here you write 2937. Intensely I'm giving the wrong value. That's why you are able to see. Let me run this. It is failing, and you can see the reason. Expected is intensely I've given 296. Actually you are getting 2936. It means you want to validate the number of records. You can give the tag. So here I will write 2936, and you will see it will pass. So in this way you have to use the function students dot student dot size. So only you can say the game. In this game of validation, you have to write a proper path, and you have to call the function. Here I've used this 293. It is passed. So there are so many other functions also which you can use it, like you can use equals also. Is also, is means is the value of is. You can use the equal function also. Let me write. What is the equal function? Equal, E Q U. You will see equal to, equal to. So I'm calling this equal to function. And in the equal to function, let me do one thing. Let me first of all pass again some wrong value. Let me again pass 2078. So it is the wrong value. We know that the size will equal to the 2936. Let me run it. Yes, it is failing. 293, it expected, actual is 29. It means equal to function is working. 2936. It is working. Now I will show you there are some other type of function you can use it and it is a beneficial for you. What are the other type of function? You can compare for the greater than, less than also. And how it is possible? Let me show you. Suppose you know that the actual is, let me write it here in the comment so that every time we don't need to go here. That what is the actual count? 2936. We have already seen in the database, you can say, but just firing the query that actual 2936 is there. So let me go here and I can compare that. I can compare the less than equal. So you know that actual value is that. So let me validate the actual values coming with, I want to compare with less than or equal to. So let me less than, LESSTHAN, less than. Here I will write just here, instead of 296, I will write 2000. So now tell me, this value is less than 2000. I want to validate that my the number of records should be less than 200. That is my expectation. And record will be, assertion will be failure Jesse. Assertion is failing. You can see the reason. Let me scroll it. A value less than 2000. Actual is 293. This is not matched. Now we can do equal to for matching less than for. Now if I write instead of less than, I can write greater than. There is a function greater than. This time it should pass because my expectation is that value should be greater than 2000 and actually it is 2936. So let me run it and you will see it is passing or not. 2000. It is pass. You can say failure 0. So in this way, you have learned how you can use the greater than also. Now I will show you that if you want to check, you have already checked the value. Now you can check the value in another way also. Okay. For example, I can show you that that I can show you in the you can say here also. Let me write another validation. So I will call this thing body part. By response, I am going to write the path of student dot subject. So now the question is that when I will write this X path, what it will return? Student.subject mean it will return all the students subject name. It will give the collection of subject of all the students, means from every node from the response. For every subject node from the response, it will return the value and it will collect all the value, JMeter, JMat, subject free, then free, JMat, soap, JMeter, every subject it will collect and return it here. Now you want to check whether in this all subject, you want to check your particular subject is exist or not. So you can check it. How? Let me write matches dot has item. Has, there is a function that is called has item, and you have to pass the has item, you have to pass the value. So suppose I will give you the I will give the negative sign. I know that whenever I you can say try to create some record, I don't use English. I always use my subject like soap, JMeter. So I know that in this collection, definitely in this collection, definitely this will not exist. ENGLISH English. And let me run it and just see what will happen. Okay, one bracket is missing, one bracket is missing. Let me write and just see what is happening here. In all student, I will show you an interesting English. Yes, it is filling. Now go and check what is it. You can see, I told you that it will return the value of, you can see these are the actual subjects, collection of all the subjects which are coming from the all the students, all the subjects are mentioned here, and we are expecting that it should contain a English, and it is not. That's why it failed. Now you can take the example, anything. You can take the JMeter subject is already there. Let me copy. And if I'm going to check this value in my this whole written collection, it will give pass. Let me run it and see, because JMeter is already available for one of the student. Subject is JMeter, so we are checking has item, so it will return true and it will pass. Yes, 0 means it is pass. Now here in our collection, you are only using one subject you want to check. If you want to check multiple items, you can also check. In that case, what I have to do, let me run this thing. This one, subject is the message. The function is not items. There is a has item, and second function is, you can say items. There is a function S. So in the S, what you can do, you can check for multiple things. Like JMeter is there. You want to check some other like soap, SOP, soap. Okay, and you can also comma, you can check for JMeter. I know that JMeter is already in the database. SOAP is English or not there. So let me write ENGLIS. So let me run this and just see what it is going to happen. It can check for multiple elements in your return. Yes, it is failing. Now see the message of the failing. That is very important. If your student does not match, a collection containing just see JMeter, soap, and English. You know that in this JMeter is there, soap is there, but English not there. So you want to see the positive scenario, just remove which you know that it is not happening. Intentionally I'm doing this thing. So let me run this thing. Okay. Still it is see, soap is also not there. Maybe soap is also not there. So let me check some other in which I'm sure. I think test ng is already there. I'm able to see the test ng. So let me write the test ng. Soap is also not there, maybe in the response. Okay. Items, students dot items. System I to check actual collection it is returning. So why it is not giving the test ng? JMeter is okay. JMeter is okay. Let me remove the JMeter, maybe for the JMeter it is creating a problem. Let me run. Yes, JMeter was not there. So you can use this one. Okay, let me write JMeter and has item JMeter, comma, there should be, let me write this JMeter and let me check some good subject name here. I can use JMeter is there. Manish is there. Any subject which I can validate. Let me show you some different subject. Selenium is there. Where is Selenium? Where is Selenium? Where is Selenium? Selenium. Let's write Selenium. Okay, we can write this one. Let me write. Okay. A collection containing TestNG, Selenium. So. Selenium. Why it is not validating the Selenium? Selenium. Student or subject, that is also okay. Has items, okay. We should pass in the sensor. Let me run it. Okay. I got this thing. Let me do one thing. I got this thing. And let me write this engine then generate. This is accurately maybe doing some. You can say 1. Okay, a collection containing test engine and JMeter. JMeter, matches dot has item. Okay. Okay, so there is some problem. Let me check. Has items, string items. So I've written this one. String comma items. So you can see, oh, okay. Let me check. I got the problem. Let me write in the double quotes. Let me run. That's why I was thinking I was doing a little bit. You can see now it is pass. Okay, yeah, I was doing this mistake that you in the item you have to pass the test engine double quotes. You are passing multiple items. You have to pass. Now you can see I can check JMeter also. This was the plan. Sometimes it happens that I forget to give this double quotes. You have to put the data in the double quote JMeter. Now also you can see Selenium should also work. Let me write comma double quote Selenium. SELENIUM. Now it is going to validate that these three data should be there. Now it is going to validate in a proper manner. Yes. Yes, it is pass. Now you can see. Now I'm going to give the example of some that is not available here. Some odd one. I know that ENGLISH. So you can see when I've given three items, test ng, JMeter valid, it validates that in the subject it contains. When I'm giving English, let me run it. Yes, it is failing because due to English. Now you can say a collection containing test ng, a collection JMeter, it's Selenium, and collection you can see this showing that collection should contain separately. It is talking about that these should be available. So you can say it is not available. So that's why it is failing. So in this way, you can have learned that so many types of methods like greater than, has item, less than, equal to, here matches is you can use to validate your thing. Okay, so I will do one thing. Everybody please do one thing, revise this thing and try to validate multiple things like subject is in your get all. In this one you can also validate on your put based API, you can also validate on your delete based API. Whatever you want to validate, the pattern will be same. What will be the pattern? You have to call the API response.then method and then we'll got the validated response reference. It contains body where you have to pass the path, and then you can call this method greater than, has items, has item, is equal to, I've shown you. So many things you can call it. So practice, and then if still you have any doubt, you can ask in the next session. Okay, so validation part is you can say done. And now I will show you another, you can say things like in this code you have done the validation, you are calling the different type of AI, but still you can say in your some common things you can put in your framework, like in the base package, whatever the common things, like you can see some code is very, very common. So you can put that code in your base things. Then you can use data provider. You can fetch the data from the Excel. These things also you can incorporate in your framework, and you can make your framework more good. So this today's session is totally dedicated on the validation and how you can use the validated response for that. Okay, so I hope everybody will revise the session and then revise the session on my API if you want, because you have configured my API on your local system. Or you can do one thing, you can test you can make a practice of validation of these type of nodes, or you can say data on your own API which you are using in your company. Okay, and still you have a problem, you can ask me in the next session. Okay, I'm binding the session. Thank you. Have a nice day.